Suiko Izumisawa is a high school student and a member of the photography club. She loves taking artistic pictures of everything she encounters. One day on her way home, she stops under a towering skyscraper and snaps pictures of it. She's with her closest friend, Yoshir, who doesn't understand why Tsukio doesn't take pictures of something picturesque like a sunset. The girls run into Tsukio's older stepsister, Tomie, who goes to the same high school. Tomie's with a guy named Toshio. Tsukio has a crush on him and is filled with envy on seeing her stepsister interacting with him. She calls Tomie over, offering to take her pictures. When the older sister is standing under the skyscraper, Tsukio takes multiple candid shots. Suddenly, Tomie says that she knows how Tsukio feels. She says that a powerful feeling of jealousy might get Tsukio in trouble. Later on, a surprised Tsukio is about to ask her what that means. But before that, a steel cross falls off the top of the building. Within seconds, it crushes Tomie's neck and pierces through her body. Everyone freezes in shock at the horrifying sight in front of them. Tsukio's camera falls to the ground and takes pictures of Tomie on its own. At the same time, Tomie's eyes turn red as she stares at Tsukio. Welcome back. Today we're going to recap a Japanese movie called Tomie Unlimited. Spoilers ahead. A year later, Tsukio still hasn't moved on from Tomie's death and often has nightmares of that day. On the anniversary of Tomie's birthday, she and her parents cut a cake in her memory. Suddenly, Tsukio hears a knock on the front door and walks towards it. To her dismay, the person outside claims to be Tomie. Tsukio runs to her parents, who are equally shocked. Her father opens the door to reveal Tomie standing outside. When the family gets over the surprise, they embrace her, elated that she somehow returned to life. They don't even inquire how she came back from the dead and just welcome her back to the family. Talk about a crazy family. Tomie asserts that she's starving and has a terrible disposition. When given the cake, she orders her parents to prepare something better and more lavish for her return. Then her eyes land on a framed photograph of herself that Tsukio had taken right before her death. The parents look at the photograph fondly, but Tomie smashes it. Later that night, Tsukio goes to Tomie's room to find her kicking a bathtub. She invites Tsukio into the bathtub with her and chuckles about the ridiculous idea. The following morning, Tsukio walks into the dining room to see her father sniffing and licking Tomie's hair. When Tsukio confronts him, he says that he missed his daughter. Tsukio is startled by this bizarre behavior. It's almost as if the new Tomie has cast a spell on her father. Outside, she finds her mother burning all of the photographs in her collection. When Tsukio intervenes, her mother states that Tomie had requested her to do so. Tomie arrives and she and Tsukio struggle for a photo, and during the struggle, Tomie is pushed against a wall. The father gets so angry at Tsukio for hurting his daughter that he brutally beats her with a telephone wire and only stops when Tomie asks him to. An injured Tsukio goes to the shower to ease the pain, but Tomie gets into the bathtub with her. Tsukio tells her that she's always felt guilty for her death, when suddenly the lights start to flicker. While the younger sister looks at the lights nervously, the older one doesn't seem to care. She gets closer to Tsukio and kisses her. A few seconds later, Tsukio regains her composure and pushes her older sister away. Tomie finally admits that she knows that Tsukio has always had a crush on her boyfriend and was jealous of her relationship with him. Following that, she pushes her hair to one side to reveal a scar from the accident that killed her. To Tsukio's horror, a tongue emerges from inside, followed by a deformed tumor that speaks. Tsukio pushes Tomie away and runs to her parents. However, they don't believe her when she claims that her sister is a monster. Instead, they ask her to apologize for being rude. Tomie stops all of them and declares that she doesn't want to stay in the house anymore. She packs her bags and gets ready to leave. As her father begs her to stay, Tsukio surprised Tomie laughs at the family for believing that she's actually their daughter. When Tomie still doesn't agree to stay with them, the father stabs her in the back and kills her. He regrets it instantly, but can do nothing to bring his daughter back. The family then carries the dead body to the bathroom and butchers it to dispose of it. When no one is looking, Tomie's eyes move and stare at Tsukio. The following morning, the family wakes up in the hallway exhausted from the day before. While packing lunch for Tsuko, her mother accidentally drops a clump of flesh into the lunchbox. At school, Yoshi notices that Tsukio is tired, but on being asked, Tsukio doesn't tell her about the events. The day before, the teacher introduces a new transfer student. To Tsukiko's complete surprise, she is Tomie yet again. Although she recognizes her sister, the others in the class do not seem to know who she is. During the lunch break, Tsukio tells Yoshi about this, but she brushes it off. Upon opening the lunchbox, Tsukio sees a miniature Tomie's head inside. She panics and runs outside to throw the box in the trash. Later, Yashi comes looking for her and hears a noise from the trash. Upon checking, she also finds the lunchbox with multiple Tomie faces. She panics and tries to run, but the miniature faces extend their abnormally long tongues and strangle her to death. Back in the house, the family had dumped Tomie's decapitated head into a bin. When the father is alone, the head emerges from it and asks for help. The father thinks that he's hallucinating, but Tomie insists that she needs to feed on a family member to regenerate her body. Eventually, she convinces him to kill his wife for the purpose. Meanwhile, in school, Tsukiko's crush Toshio approaches her and asks her if she's still mourning her sister's death. They had a heart-to-heart chat about everything, after which Tsukiko feels a lot better. She's happy that Toshio is finally getting along with her. He even calls her to the judo club to take pictures of their team. While they're at it, Tomie arrives in the practice room, challenging the men to a fight. Toshio is shocked to see her alive, but she ignores him entirely. A man steps forward to fight her, and she surprises everyone by defeating him, with little to no effort. Following that, Toshio asks her how she got back, but Tomie doesn't seem to remember him. She tackles him to the floor and kisses him. Tsukiko sees this and is struck with a pang of jealousy. After school, she asks the new Tomie who she actually is. When she doesn't get a reply, she threatens her to stay away from Toshio. Upon returning home, Tsukiko notices that her mother is missing and her father has a strange bag that he claims contains medicines. Tsukiko doesn't think much of it and simply goes to her room. Her father, on the other hand, feeds the medicine to Tomie's head. Then we find out that he's already killed their mother. At Tomie's request, Tomie's head asks him to cut out the mother's tongue and feed it to her. The father doesn't question her and does as told. The next day, Toshio ignores Tsukiko and walks hand in hand with Tomie, heartbroken. Tsukiko runs away. Later in the studio, she's developing some pictures when Yoshi approaches her. Since Tsukiko didn't know that Yoshi was dead a while ago, she talks to her normally. But soon Yoshi reveals her shoulder that has the same tumor as Tomie did earlier. The grotesque tongue horrifies Tsukiko and she runs away. She eventually enters a room where the boys from the judo team are hanging out. They claim that they have the urge to kill and are nearly possessed by something. When Tsukiko runs away again, Yoshi comes into the room and asks the team about her. They see the tumor that talks and get agitated. The group holds her, planning to murder her because of the tumor. Next, we see Tsukiko running down the hallway. She runs into a room to see Toshio stabbing Tomie repeatedly while laughing maniacally. Tomie's body lies in a pool of her own blood. Upon being called, Toshio comes to his senses and apologizes to Tomie for killing her. Tsukiko asks him to run away, but he just wants to stay with the dead body. All of a sudden, the blood starts moving on its own, giving rise to another Tomie. The new Tomie and Toshio kiss as Tsukiko watches in horror. Back in another room, the judo team is about to cut Yoshi's head off with a pair of garden scissors. While Yoshi begs for her life, the tumor on her shoulder urges them to kill her. They decapitate her, and her head falls to the floor. Following that, they brainstorm ideas of getting rid of the body. However, before they can think of something, the headless body rises up. The tumor has replaced the head and taken over the body. She launches at them, then runs outside somewhere else. Tomie and Toshio continue making out. In a fit of rage, Tsukiko stabs Toshio in the back of his neck and kills him. She then wishes for Tomie to die and stabs her in the face. The impact causes Tomie's body to explode, splattering blood everywhere. Following that encounter, Yoshi's headless body chases Tsukiko around the school. While running away, Tsukiko stumbles upon the judo team, who are all also dead. She ignores them and runs upstairs, locking herself in a room. Just when she thinks she's safe, a bin starts to move. From inside it emerges the head of the earlier Tomie, who is being fed by her father. She's grown a pair of hairy legs, but has no torso. Even her hair has miniature heads hung to it. Tsukiko panics and retreats in fear, only to be confronted by another Tomie, who comes out of a locker. By now, Yoshi has also entered the room. They surround Tsukiko, and she cries in fear. Then one of them gets closer to kiss her. All of a sudden, Tsukiko wakes up in her bed, realizing that she was just dreaming. Upon sitting down with her parents for breakfast, she finds out that she's their only child. She laughs at herself for believing that the dream was real, but just then, her father starts to eat clumps of hair off on his plate. She runs to her mother for help, but stops when she sees that her mother's head has turned upside down. Both parents then run after Tsuko with the aim of killing her. While trying to run away, Tsukiko comes across a giant Tomie's head in the living room. The head releases several centipedes with her face on it. The giant insects chase Tsukiko around the house and kill her parents in the process. When Tsukiko rushes to climb up the stairs, she finds Toshio, who tries to push her down. She overpowers him and pushes him off the stairs. Seconds later, Yoshi also appears and tries to do the same. She's also pushed down and is eaten by the insects. Tsukiko tries to lock herself inside her room, but has to stop when the giant Tomie appears at her door. However, Tsukiko takes pictures of her, making her disappear. A while later, she goes downstairs and tells the giant Tomie that she's the only person who understands her. The sisters seem to reconcile before the centipedes take over Tsuko and kill her. In the last scene, we see Tsukio walking out in the house resembling Tomie. She goes around town and sees Tomie's face on every other person. Eventually, she meets a stranger and agrees to go home with him. In the following scene, we see him stabbing her brutally. Tsukio's dead body looks into the mirror and sees Tomie's face. The sisters look at each other and laugh maniacally. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.